Hello everybody in the Frontline universe and welcome to a very special horror corner. Unfortunately, this will be going up a little bit after Halloween. That's due largely to the fact that Halloween was a crazy day. But anyway, I'm going to be doing a two-parter, and there's a reason. There's a really awesome company called Double Take, and last month they brought out 10 number ones, all taking place in or around the George A. Romero Night of the Living Dead series. So what I did was I took 5 books. I'll be talking and reviewing 5 of the books here, and then there'll be a part 2, which is probably going to go up directly after this, where I'll discuss and review the other 5 books. They're not in any specific order. It's not my top 5 and then my low 5, or my low 5 and then my top 5. Honestly, there were great issues. There were okay issues. There were 1 or 2 issues that really were like, really, this is where we're going? But altogether, as a full series, this is very interesting. I will mention this, I do like the innovative thought between, there are 10 books, all of them take place around the exact same time, in the exact same town. There's a map at the beginning of most books, or at the end of most books, maybe. In most books there's a map, yeah. And it shows you where each and every one of the books actually takes place. So, anyway, there actually are books connected to the Night of the Living Dead characters. I believe that's in the next video. This one is just talking about things going on around the events of Night of the Living Dead. Now, all throughout all the books, there is a conference with the president, which you see in multiple books, either through TV or in person. There's also a conversation with a scientist who's telling people if they find any bodies or any dead bodies to incinerate them immediately. In order to prevent them from coming back, because it's dead tissue and the dead tissue comes back to life. And the zombies are now out and about, and they show up in multiple books. First book we're going to talk about is Spring, issue number 1. This book is really what you see on the cover. It's a bunch of kids there's a bunch of kids skinny dipping. There's another, the book opens up with a lifeguard going on duty at a beach. Here's some artwork. A lot of people say these books are nicer to read digitally because it goes from panel to panel. Personally, I did not have that problem reading it physically. I enjoyed the books for what they were anyway. So you have everybody having a great time. Whoever's the teenagers skinny dipping, the regular people just, floating around on the beach, just chilling on the water. And then all of a sudden, people start to disappear. And the lifeguard starts to notice this. And most of the skinny dippers disappear as well. So the lifeguard jumps in, tells everybody to get out of the water, and then he kind of disappears into the ocean. What happens next? What's pulling the people under the water? Your assumption is as good as mine, or mine is as good as your guys. This was an interesting book. Next we've got Dedication, issue number 1. Now this takes place in a supermarket. It's a normal day. Or normal closing, because basically the supermarket closes. The main focal point is the boss or the head of the supermarket making sure everything's being done right. He goes into his office, trusts one of his head employees to make sure everything's closed up and everything's set nice in the store before leaving. And then somebody tries to get in, and he's like, "No, sorry, we're closed." And they break in anyway. And it turns out it's a bunch of zombies. But it's interesting because these zombies don't seem interested in him. They seem interested in the food. And we actually do see a revelation about that in another book. Just leave that as food for thought for this video. The next video, there actually is a little bit more development with that. Again, they do show the White House. People asking what's going on, what they can do, what the president has to say about it and what's going on, and they're giving the very briefy about it. They don't know that they're trying to figure it out, or they're just saying no comment. So that's the basics of this book. And now you have the employees going to the big boss because he doesn't know, the general manager, what's going on in the store. So obviously they're going to involve him in the next issue. This was another really interesting issue. I liked it. I'm interested in seeing where the next issue goes for this, and Spring as well. This book I really liked. Remote, issue number 1. Now, you have this radio, anchor woman who is told to stay at the radio station to make sure she gets the word out, you know, the warning out about what's going on, and to keep the people informed and to what they can do, while of course the boss is in a nice location, safe somewhere else, you know, having a great time. And the Anchor Woman gets attacked by a zombie. She finds another zombie, and then she basically sticks it out. She decides, I'm going to stick it out. The power goes out. She turns the power back on, and she stays on the radio. The boss says, don't worry, by 11 a.m., the morning staff will come in, and you'll be safe, and you'll be able to get out of there. I will say this, by 11 a.m., there were somebodies at the radio station. It just wasn't, well, I can't spoil that because that's the last page, but let's just say that she's definitely, the longer she's at the radio station, the more and more dangerous the radio station is becoming. This book has me really interested in seeing what is going to happen next. I really liked Remote a lot. Honor, issue number 1. Now, this book kind of was like, okay. You got these 2 police officers sitting on the side of the road. This guy passes by. He's over the speed limit. He gets a ticket. He's pissed off. His wife... how do I say this nicely? His wife tries to cheer him up by making him pull over to the side of the road and giving him a little bit of relaxation. And that's all we're going to say there. And then you have this old man who's souping up his tractor because he's going to race it in the town race. And the police officers are following after him to, you know, say, keep going, try to break the speed limit, you know, keep going, you know, go faster, you know, push your, they want his tractor to basically go faster. And then what happens is that couple, from the beginning of the book, they get stuck in the middle of the road. And, yep, there's an accident. But I believe we see the couple again. Stay tuned for in another couple of seconds. However, the old man, spoiler, doesn't survive. And the last page of this book, you know, they put the old man in a body bag, and, you know, they leave the flare up for when the ambulance comes. I don't think they're going to find something when they come back, when they come to pick up the body. That's all I'm going to say. Let's leave the rest up to the next issue. Medic, issue number 1, is where I believe the couple from that accident went. I'm not sure. I tried to go back and forth. They mentioned the last names and first names in this book. They didn't mention anything except they mentioned the first name in this book. They didn't mention the last names. They mentioned the last names in this book. So I'm going to assume, because the lady was in a purple dress in this book, that it's the same lady because she has a concussion, and the other 2 were not were not dead. So it's an ambulance being rushed into the hospital, and again, on the TV screen, it's where was it? It's the guy that we get to see later on in a different book, saying that if they catch any of the bodies to oh no, I'm in the wrong book with that one, but it's more of the government than on the TV, thinking that it's possibly the one of the satellites that crashed into Earth. So you got this doctor. Now this issue, when we get to from about this point on, this doctor talks about his childhood and how he was a fatty and how nobody would date him, and the first date he went on, and how he wanted to be safe instead of sorry, and sex and whatnot. And I'm sitting here and I'm reading this guy's story, and I'm like, to make sure that this says medic and not doctor, whatever. I forgot what his last name was. Dr. Bricker. His entire life story was in the middle, all the way almost towards the end of the book. I don't know if he's trying to seduce the girl. I don't know if he just felt the need to talk about his life. But when I got finished with that whole thing, I was honestly paying attention to the operation more than his life, you know, or his history lesson about himself. But I was, after his conversation, or his long-winded, this is what my life was when I was a kid, I was like, dear God, I hope they don't do this in issue 2. Because I'll be honest, that really took me out of the book, because First of all, this is supposed to be around Night of the Living Dead, and we do get to see some of that connection by the last page of the issue when the doctor's called away to the morgue. However, the whole middle part where you're getting this doctor's story about when it was his childhood, it's like, I don't care. I don't care that your life sucked or that you finally started dating somebody and they wanted to have sex in their house and you're like, no, why do we have to go to your house and risk getting caught? Let's have sex in the woods. I don't care. I don't care where he had sex, and I don't care about his life when he was a kid. I mean, talk about something that's going on in the present. Have a conversation between yourself and the nurses about the living dead coming back to life or something. The dead coming back to life or something. So, that took me out of Medic, but overlooking that, there's definitely a really good setup for the next issue, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So that was the 5 issues for this part, guys. Really no stinkers. I really enjoyed all 5 of these books. They were really good for what they were worth. Spring set up really nicely for the next issue. Dedication, I can't wait to see where that's going to go. Actually, Remote, I really cannot wait to see where issue 2 is going to take us, because now this woman is stuck in the radio station. Honor was interesting, however, I don't know where issue 2 is going to go, but it'll be interesting to see if it follows the old man that was in the accident. And then Medic, again, I didn't need to know this doctor's childhood stories. Hopefully with the next issue, especially with that last page, things will pick up really, really nicely. These all were great setups to a really interesting story. Artwork fluctuated from good to really good. I had no complaints about any of the artwork in any of these books. I really enjoyed it. You could pick this up at $2.50 each, or you can buy the entire pack together. I believe it's $20 to $25 depending on where you buy it and where you find it. Really great books. Stay tuned for part 2 where I will be covering the other 5 books that are number 1s. And if you like this, if you check out the number 1s, November 11th, which is next week ironically, not this Wednesday, the following Wednesday, the issue number 2s for all of these books are coming out. I'm really excited to see those, and I'm really excited to be reviewing those. So stay tuned to part 2 and we'll see about the other 5 books. Take care everybody, keep reading, keep collecting. I almost forgot the outro.